Welcome everybody, this is the No Politics Wrestling Podcast, the most dope, the most real, the most must-listen wrestling podcast in the whole podcast world. I am your host, FakinNoMoves, here with my co-host, WorkinGenius. As always, we here Thursday, July 27th, in the area.
It sounded like you almost forgot my name for a second.
I was going to say the WorkinGenius, but I know you kind of iffy with the WorkinGenius, and I still say it because you have an email that's the WorkinGenius. So
yeah, that's because I couldn't get WorkinGenius, yeah, so I had to get the WorkinGenius.
But you are WorkinGenius and the WorkinGenius.
Yeah,
don't get it twisted.
I'm both.
But if you are listening to this podcast, we're coming live from iTunes. You already know, SoundCloud, all that good
stuff. With
two
brand new microphones.
If you heard the last episode, you know, my man WorkinGenius over there had the new microphone, and I was like, damn, I got to get mine. My shit coming soon. Coming soon, though, meant the next episode.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be that soon. I was like, I'm going to be better than him for the time being, but it only lasted a week. But speaking of better than you, let's talk about Battleground right quick and how I killed the predictions, and I'm still the NPW, the No Politics Wrestling champion when it comes to predictions on the pay-per-views. You are. So recognize. Respect,
as John Cena would say.
Thank you.
Respect it. No doubt. So let's get into Battleground because that was a perfect segue.
Thank you. One thing, before you even jump in, one thing I just got to apologize right off the top because while I did nail a lot of the predictions, I made a very, very bad mistake, a big mistake, when on last episode I said, that Sami Zayn, Mike Kanellis match, that's going to be better than Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal.
Word.
Holy shit, was I wrong, man. I just had to apologize for that one. I'm still the champ, though.
Word. But I will say, now that you mentioned, you know, Sammy and Mike Kanellis, I like that Mike Kanellis and Maria just Eskimo kissed. That shit was hilarious.
Oh shit, that was great.
Yo, right over Sammy, like he was just laid out, like, and they was just like they went out. She's like, "Come over here," and they just Eskimo kissed. That shit was hilarious. And then like their whole public display affection, PDA, like way too much in the middle of the match. Like he did something good,
no
and then
respect.
like they kissed. That shit was hilarious. But then like it ended up just backfiring. Sammy got the win. I don't think either of us predicted Sammy to get the win.
No, we didn't. I was surprised. It kind of like threw me off because I'm like, wait. Like, you know, whenever someone new comes in, you expect them to get built up a little bit. Yeah. And especially because having Maria in his corner, you would assume that that's an easy way to get him a heel win.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. They went in the other direction with it. Maybe he's just going to be a little jobber and help elevate talent.
You know, at the end of the day, whether... I'm not going to say he's a jobber or, you know...
Oh, no, of course,
going to put the battery behind him, but he's there to fill a role.
Yeah, exactly.
In a space, you know? And
that's what I'm saying, so I was confused.
Doing it perfect, so is Maria, you know, so...
For sure, those roles are impeccable. Like, I love their roles. I'm just saying in terms of, like... I thought he was going to come in right in, and maybe they were going to try to make him a player or a threat because he's got Maria. You know, maybe because of the dynamic of that relationship... I think of the Miz and Maurice so much, and I think most people do, in at least a little bit. So I thought, like, you know, he could come right in, and that kind of role can be effective, and it could be a big-time player, you know, or, you know, a strong mid-card player. So
I definitely see them also, though, like, trying to be like Miz and Maurice, but, like, separate themselves as different, though. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. We're a power couple, but we're in a different kind of way. We're not Hollywood.
Well, they're more like,
we're
in
like
love.
In love, like real love. Like it's hilarious. Yeah. It's awesome.
Great. I love that. I don't know if you saw the pre-show where Maria and Mike answered some questions on Battleground.
No, I didn't see it.
And someone was like, "How do we find a love like yours?" She was like, "You don't." Like basically,
Oh my
like long
god.
story short, she was like, "You don't, because there's only one Mike Kanellis and there's only one Maria Kanellis."
Oh man, that's amazing. That's
So
dope.
yeah,
But yes, needless to say, as much as you said, like it wasn't as good as Randy and Jinder Mahal, but it wasn't a bad match, and
what
it's
it
not a
was
bad
is
storyline, you know?
I don't think it's a bad storyline at all. I thought that they didn't give him that much time.
Yeah,
I thought they were gonna give him a lot of time, but it ended up just being kind of like in that cool down kind of
yeah,
area right before the main event.
yep,
So they gave him maybe like 8 minutes, I felt, or something like that. I'm just making up that time based on what I felt, but
yeah, yeah.
so
It's
I
probably
think
like,
with more time though, I thought they could have did some more.
uh,
Especially I've seen what Sami Zayn can do, So
of course, yeah. So, you want to jump into the main event, or you want to
let's
talk
do
about
it.
some
No,
other
I'm
stuff
fine.
on Battleground?
Let's just
All right,
keep
the
it
main
rolling.
event. One thing I will say about that, I love how they teased like getting each door open, and then when it got to the last door, and Randy was literally about to do it, like the Singh brothers just like pulled Jinder and like whoop,
I
and
thought
Randy
that was
doesn't make it
great.
out. That was amazing. I loved it. Uh, Samir Singh, crazy bump.
I fucking love. I don't know if you read the caption I posted when I posted about the match on our Instagram at No
Yeah,
Politics Wrestling. If you don't know, but
exactly.
I posted a caption, and in it I said, "Shout out to the Singh brothers. This whole feud for the bumps they've been taking.
Yes.
They've been taking
Fucking
some
really,
crazy
yo.
bumps.
I said it like from the beginning, like I love them with Jinder. You know what
Same,
I mean?
same.
So even though it's not like they play like a major threat as in physically, but
Mm.
like they're like little. I don't know how to say it, like
Little pests.
pests. Yeah, they're little pests, and they come through for their man Jinder, and they still might have not been enough. Randy was about to win.
Yeah.
And then the big surprise, whether it was like we talk about WWE doing good surprises and surprises where you're like, what the fuck? I think this was one of those what the fuck moments. But I like that they didn't go overboard. Like they just let like Khali like choke him and like,
Yeah.
like it was decent. You know, it was
You
decent.
thought
I'm
it
not
was
gonna
more what
trash
the
it.
fuck than good? I thought it was like a good what the fuck. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, it was a what the fuck as in I don't know yet.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I like seeing Jinder and Kali together. That was like cool, you know, like at the end and Jinder's letting Kali hold the belt up and shit. Like,
Yeah.
so let's see where it goes. You know, Jinder
Another
wasn't.
thing,
I mean, my bad. Kali wasn't around afterwards. So, but we'll get to that.
I was gonna say, because you mentioned how the Singh brothers pulled Jinder out of that fourth door from like right before it closed. Usually, I feel like I've seen the Kali Batista Punjabi prison match, and I think was there another one? There was another one, right?
Kali Undertaker.
Okay. Well, in the Kali Batista one, all four doors closed and none of them escaped.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened in the Undertaker Kali one. Did all four doors close with none of them escaping?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay.
That shit was
Well,
like
I
12
just
years
always
ago.
kind of assumed like, well, all four doors are obviously going to close and they're not going to escape, because that's how it just seems to go.
Yeah.
And so I was like pleasantly surprised when like Jinder actually made it out, and they were like, he had that huge head start. But it was funny
Yeah.
because it was right after he took an RKO, so he was literally all that time he saves by not having to climb out of the first
Yeah.
cage or prison
Yeah.
part. He was knocked out, so he couldn't even capitalize on that time. And then another thing, remember I mentioned Randy Orton and how like I made the joke about how he on SmackDown the previous week he should have just like slithered through the Punjabi prison
Yeah.
structure. Well, during the match, one of the Singh brothers goes
Yeah.
right through the Punjabi prison structure because he's so thin.
Not only that, I think you actually said, you know, if I'm gonna see if one of them would go through, it would be probably one of the Singh brothers. They could fit, I think.
I
Because
probably
I was like, because I think I mentioned like they're probably gonna
you
get
said
involved.
something. You nailed the fact that you were like, they'll be under the ring. They'll probably be under the ring.
Ring, exactly.
And then I think I like added on to that by saying, oh, and maybe they'll like go through the Punjabi prison structure.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. You're like they're little enough to fit, and they are, but it was the outside
Yeah.
structure. Boom, but that shit was dope. I like the fucking main event.
Me too. I
It
thought
was
it was really
awesome.
well done.
The kendo stick
That
shots.
was the next thing I was gonna mention.
Come on, Randy was bleeding and shit. I think I heard Randy, because you know
Randy be
Randy's
getting
notorious for talking
he be
shit.
getting upset for real.
And
Sometimes it seems like
he was like, "You got that color?" Like I heard him say some shit like that, like if he was talking to the ref or something, but it picked up on the camera, and that's like infamous backstage language, like color for blood. Like
yeah.
Vince don't want blood on WWE television program, but it happens.
But well, you gonna take this blood tonight. Speaking of bloods, no.
Yeah. John Cena's one.
I was gonna say the Usos.
Oh.
I mean, if there's something close to gang affiliated characters.
John Cena's a blue blood. Nah.
Oh. So you want to talk about Cena or the Usos?
It don't matter, because I mean, the Usos match, I'm going to say good things. The Cena match, we all know, if you listen to the last episode, which I'm assuming y'all did.
Yeah, y'all better have listened to that last episode.
I wanted Rusev to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit did not happen, and that shit was trash.
Man,
I don't give a fuck. That
I gotta
match
tell
was
you,
horrible.
I gotta tell you, I wanted Rusev to win too, because remember I said it would be like huge, like he could immediately challenge Jinder.
Yeah.
Remember, just by beating someone like Cena, and they've had history for a while, but my pick was still John Cena, because I said, America. They're not gonna have Cena with representing America. They're not gonna have him lose.
And we can leave it at that.
Yeah, I didn't. As far as the match, my thoughts on it, I didn't catch a lot of it. I forgot what I was doing. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Yeah,
we could talk about that later tonight too on this episode if we got enough time.
I just want to say I'm not gonna get into Game of Thrones. I don't want to spoil people if they haven't watched it. But I mean, you should have. It was last Sunday.
But some people wait for the season to finish and then they like binge watch
it. Nah, not with Game of Thrones. You can't.
You never
do that.
know. There's some people like that, bro. There's weirdos out there.
I mean, don't disrespect them. I mean, they are making a mistake, but don't be disrespectful. No, but I wanted to mention, like, I watched Game of Thrones instead of this Cena Rusev match, and I don't think I made a mistake at all.
Good choice.
This is the right one, right? And then
I decided to
asked,
attend a wedding, so I actually missed the whole Battleground. I had to watch it over, but as a true fan, I do what I do, and I watch it.
I actually asked our followers on Instagram if I missed anything, and they were like, I was like, all I caught was the table spot at the end.
Word, which was the best
which was
part.
cool.
I mean,
and they were like, that's all that there was to it. That's what they all said.
I literally have notes here.
And then speaking of Game of Thrones, I don't know if you saw the comments, but someone in the comments was like, people were watching Game of Thrones on their phone in the arena during that match.
Yo,
not a bad choice either. But talk about your notes.
My notes literally say Cena breaks the accolade, gets the attitude adjustment, the AA, and picks him up and drops him through 2 tables, gets the W. Shit was trash. Straight up. That's the only note I got on that match.
Oh man. I mean, sums it up.
Yeah.
Let's move it on. Let's move it on to something Let's move it on to something I actually have notes about.
And the New Day.
Yep.
New Day. But yeah, man, that was an awesome match. They kicked off the night. They kicked it off right. They did what they did. They stole the show. I think that was in contention for like match of the night right there. I ain't even gonna lie.
I agree.
For real, that was a really good match. But I'm gonna let you rock on this one though.
Okay, so all right, there was a lot of things I liked about this match. I think it's definitely up there for match of the night. I did have a few problems. Like, this might come as a surprise to a lot of people. I don't know, because I've only heard positive things about it, and I've, for the most part, said positive things about it. But here were my thoughts. I have them written here. Okay, I want to say the Usos powerbomb on Kofi Kingston on the outside when he was going to do the trust fall, like from off the top turnbuckle, and they caught him and powerbombed him.
Yes,
mean.
Beautiful. Loved it.
Absolutely vicious. The double Samoan drop was dope too.
Mm-hmm.
The super kick on Woods when he tried to do the springboard.
Yeah,
that was unreal. Right?
Tell me about it.
The single crab, he had him in for a while.
And then he got the break. The rope break.
I wrote there was a vicious midnight hour. That's the finisher that the New Day does.
Okay.
And then I wrote super kick and splash and from the Usos, right? I like that too.
Yeah.
And then I wrote
they had their spots, man. I picked the Usos to retain, by the way.
Yeah, I know. But I knew I mean I like the Usos reign. I knew they were gonna put it on New Day and then set up the rematch for SummerSlam. But okay, so of all those nice spots, right, which there were a ton, I thought that match could have ended on the super kick, on the springboard super kick. When I thought it could have ended there.
Yeah, I thought it was over. I was like, yes,
that was so vicious.
Even though I knew, no, that I didn't think it was over. Let me correct myself. I knew that New Day won. But when I was watching the match, like, I didn't get no details about the match, like, all these spots ahead of time. Like, you didn't tell me about this. You had your notes. I didn't know. Yeah. You know? So when I saw that happen, I was like, how did that not end right there? Like, that should have been the match right there. Uso should have retained. Like, this would have been a close game.
And that's why, like, that's the only thing I could take away about this match. Too many false finishes. There were a lot of points in that match where there were some vicious spots where I was like, this match should end here. Yeah. And another thing, the other problem I have is that the Usos, most of the spots, it was the Usos delivering them. Okay. So the fact that the New Day ends up retaining, it was the Usos that were killing it. Most of the major spots, it was the Usos.
Yeah.
So it was. New Day didn't do enough to win the titles.
But at the end of the day, though, the New Day's outfit, come on. Scale of 1 to 10, that's a 10. So that kind of gives them the pass. Like, because they were looking fresh. My man Kofi Kingston had the Jeremy Scott joints. Like, he always got them. But, like, he's getting them in all the flavors. Like, he killing it out there. I can't lie. Like,
that was enough
they get the pass.
Another thing I was going to say is that Big E, he was, like, not a factor. I thought that was poor usage.
Yeah, that's true.
He was just not a factor.
Yeah.
And I like how they described the strategy of the New Day to begin the match, that they wanted to hit them with speed, and I like that. But when you have 3 members on a team, Big E not being a factor, like, I know they're not heel, but even after they turn babyface, Woods, when he's on the side, he still does his little heel shit, like, you know, his little distraction shit. Yeah. Even though they're babyface. And I think that's, whenever you have the numbers, like, maybe you don't have to be the most heel in the world, but, like, you should serve a purpose if you're ringside.
Word.
And New Day and Big E was actually, like, totally wasted, I thought. I just thought the Usos, if you didn't tell me who won the match and you just showed me the match and all the spots, I'm saying that the Usos won. That was the only thing that I could take away from this match.
Word. Excellent way of, breaking that down. I actually forgot that Big E was barely effective, but like you said, I think this is going to go on to SummerSlam. And with those couple matches we already talked about, like, it's already a solid card for a card that I thought, like, not a lot of people thought was going to be, like, mind blown or out of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Great Balls of Fire had that kind of same vibe where you kind of underestimated it.
Yeah.
And then it was actually, like, exceeded your expectations. Battleground kind of did that.
I actually liked the card coming in. I thought there was some good candidates on it. But I do know, like there was like a lukewarm. There was like a lukewarm reaction to the card, probably.
Yeah. But we also had Corbin Nakamura, KO AJ, a women's Fatal 5 match. But I really loved, Nakamura and Corbin. We kind of had a back and forth about this match, and I was saying, like, I doubt the match would even start. It'll be a DQ. I thought it was going to be, like, off the bat. But this was actually a match, and it was a good fucking match. Like, Corbin was dominating early.
Yeah.
He had that one spot where he had Nakamura in the bear hug, and was just working that bear hug. I loved that. Like, you need that from a big man like Corbin. He's the next generation. You gotta have that sense of I'm a giant. You know what I mean? Because this is like a dying breed. Tall, big dudes like that are not often, come around no more. But he had that. He hit Nakamura with a fucking crazy clothesline at one point in the match. And JBL,
Yeah.
I wrote down this in the notes. I was like, JBL said, those kind of hits are game changers. And that's exactly what that was. That was like a game changer fucking clothesline. I fucking love that clothesline. Props to Corbin. And I don't be going in like giving Corbin that much props. I have gave him like credit that he's gotten better. But I really love that
I've
he
liked
did that
Corbin
in that
for
match.
a while, and I don't know. I must have said it at some point during our season 0 episodes that you can find on SoundCloud. I just be plugging us. That's how much I support us.
Word.
I support us so much that I
No,
plug
that's
us
how
all the
smart
time.
you are. That's how smart you are.
They don't call me the WorkinGenius for nothing. But I must have mentioned it at some point in our early episodes, but I remember when Corbin first got the call up, and a lot of people were like, on him. But I remembered seeing him, and maybe some of it had to do with the fact that I saw him in NXT, and I liked him. And he had a match with Aries right before he got the call up on an NXT takeover. And then I also watched Breaking Ground, I believe it's called, on the WWE Network, only $9.99. Damn, I even be plugging WWE Network. but
$9.99.
but Corbin, maybe I liked him through that too, as just a person. I saw like his style and his attitude, and it fits his character. Like his character isn't very different from him as a person. It seems like, like that whole lone wolf thing. That's his style.
Yeah,
but
and
I liked Corbin coming
he definitely displayed that.
Yeah, I liked Corbin for a while, and I think he's just proven it. And there's a reason he got that briefcase. I think they believe in him, and obviously, and he's gonna be the champion. As far as this match, here's how confident I am as the No Politics Wrestling champion of these pay-per-view predictions, all right?
Damn.
Is that I offered you, and if you didn't hear last episode, which you need to listen to it, I even offered my partner over here, FakinNoMoves. I said, if this match doesn't start and Corbin comes out looking strong, I give you 2 points. I give you 2 of them because I don't need them.
But Corbin did come out looking strong.
He did. What?
And overall, it did end in a DQ.
Yeah.
The only thing I got wrong was I said it probably won't even be a match, really. And it was a match.
Man, you took a risk with that one.
Yeah.
But, okay, as far as my notes, I didn't write notes the whole way through. But to begin the match, there was some Corbin sucks chants at some point early on in the match. And then after Corbin, gets Nakamura down, Corbin addresses the crowd and screams, "I'm doing pretty good, dummies."
Yeah, I know.
I just thought it was hilarious.
Amazing. Yes, I loved it.
So I thought that was great. I also wrote Naka selling the shit out of that clothesline, which you mentioned. And then I said I like the Corbin low blow because this feud could go to SummerSlam, which is basically the basis for your whole prediction that the match wouldn't even get kicked off, is that this feud has some legs and it can go to SummerSlam. So I thought it was a dope match. I liked it. Dug the low blow.
I freaking love the finish. The low blow. But before the low blow, Nakamura, which I put in another note here, his barrage of kicks, where he kind of did a 360 kick to the front, boom, dropped him back. Corbin got on all fours, and then bounced off the rope, did a scissor kick to the back of his head, boom, which basically knocked him out.
Yeah.
That scissor kick basically knocked him out, and then he got in the corner and set up his finisher.
And Corbin didn't get up.
Yes, and Corbin didn't get up. So he goes to pick him up, low blow. Beautiful, beautiful storytelling.
Dope.
This feud does have to continue. And, man, that shit was fucking awesome.
Agree.
I kind of did get it right, but then I got it wrong. So it's all good, though. It's all good.
I still beat you 3-zip.
It's all good.
So I could have gave you those 2 points anyway. But what we got next? The Fatal 5-Way?
Fatal 5-Way. There's not really much to say about that Fatal 5-Way.
Let's see if I have anything. I don't have notes because I stopped taking notes at some point. But the Fatal 5-Way, okay.
That was probably the very beginning
of
Game of Thrones starting.
Yeah, that's why. But okay, so I did catch
Natty
some of
won.
it though.
Natty won.
Natty won.
Mm-hmm.
I did. It seemed it didn't get that much time. I didn't mind the like 3 straight quick eliminations.
I like the elimination style thing. I for some reason I didn't know it was elimination, or maybe I just totally forgot. I don't know.
I mean, whenever you hear, I have this problem too. Whenever they call it like a fatal 5-way, whenever I'm thinking fatal, I'm thinking it's just one pin and that's the winner.
Yeah.
Early on in the match, it was kind of weird though. I guess it's storytelling, but like certain women were breaking pins and submissions when it's an elimination match, so you shouldn't care that much.
Yeah.
Or at all, actually. So,
I don't got much to say. We both got this one wrong.
The way the commentary team explained it was that like Lana wanted the glory for eliminating Charlotte, which makes sense though, from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah.
I liked the quick eliminations of Tamina, Lana, and Becky. They were like all consecutive, and then I was just super surprised that Natty beat Charlotte.
Yeah.
Just super surprised, but I mean,
good shit for Natty. I'm happy for Natty.
For sure. I think I don't know.
She could do a really good feud with Naomi because she's been on a roll. Her character,
for a while.
Her attitude, like it's for really going. It's not gonna go unnoticed. Like it's been very noticeable, and I'm happy for her. Even though like we both literally thought probably she had the least shot. It's kind of like the whole thing with the Samoa Joe.
Exactly. And,
you know,
and the Great Balls
she gets a shot.
Fire Fatal 5-way.
So,
or not the Great Balls of Fire Fatal 5-way. The one before that, Extreme Rules, I think.
Yeah. So that was cool. So I'm not mad at it. But
I thought for sure it was gonna be Charlotte and Naomi at SummerSlam because they've been putting that off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But maybe they want to do that at Rumble or maybe even Mania. Who knows?
I don't know.
I don't think Naomi's gonna still be in the title picture by Mania though. I don't think. But we'll see. Maybe Natty wins, or maybe Naomi retains. And
well, you know,
Carmella,
at WrestleMania, what they like to do is get all the women involved. Anyway.
Well, I think Carmella takes that title off of Naomi at SummerSlam, or Natty, whoever wins. I think Naomi retains, but I think Carmella's going to be right there.
I don't want to jump ahead, though, but I love what Carmella did on SmackDown.
Also, Ellsworth is going to be back by SummerSlam, I'm pretty sure, around that time.
My girl Carmella had that free Ellsworth shirt on. That shit was fire. Yeah.
See? He's going to be back soon, too.
Yeah. Last match we got to talk about, which if last week we put in the order of significance, this was the last match that we had on the top bar because we say this is the number one title.
This is the true main event.
On the Blue Brand SmackDown.
This is the number one title in the whole company. Right now.
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, as long as we're not counting NXT because their titles are pretty prestigious.
Nah, this U.S. title right now is kind of on top. You know what I'm saying? NXT is always up there.
I don't know that NXT women's
so right now,
title.
I think the NXT title has to take a backseat to the U.S.
Okay,
but
sure.
the U.S. because the U.S. is killing it.
I don't know, but Asuka's the shit. But go ahead.
Yeah, man. What a solid match, man. Of course, what can I expect? Nothing less but great chemistry, great storytelling. Kevin Owens, AJ Styles. AJ took the belt off him at Madison Square Garden. You know what I'm saying? It was a moment, and then KO somehow, some way gets the belt back. That shit was kind of controversial, but what other better way than to be controversial when it comes to KO?
Here's the thing I was super confused about was that when the ref was like knocked out, or not even knocked out, but like groggy.
Yeah.
Nobody did anything like dirty.
Yeah.
It was like they just kept having a regular match. But I do want to say that Owens throwing Styles into the ref, that was dope. Like the way he flung him into, that was crazy.
Yep.
You're just throwing a human body into another human. Like that's, like they make it look like so smooth, but that's dangerous to shit, you know? It's crazy.
I feel you.
I like that.
Yo, but now that you say it, they didn't do nothing dirty. Like, they were literally chain submission wrestling. Like,
exactly.
They were just, and that was awesome. I loved it.
I loved it too. It
reminded me of the old school Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, submission matches where they would just have all the best reversals to get each other in the move in their finisher.
Yeah.
It was amazing, man. I loved that match, man. So if I could just say that, compare that to that, that match was awesome. And Kevin Owens and AJ Styles are awesome wrestlers.
No doubt about it. No question.
Two of the best in the whole motherfucking world.
For sure. So, it was a weird finish. A little controversial, as you mentioned. I don't know if Styles' shoulder was supposed to be up off the mat and the ref wasn't supposed to see it. I don't know. It threw me off. I think I'm still kind of confused.
Especially because, it wasn't mentioned
On SmackDown.
Like, that his shoulder was kind of... But I seen, a lot of things on the dirt sheet saying, like, AJ Styles was, like, flipping on the ref and, like, kicking the steps to the ring after the match and stuff. So, who knows? But, all in all, Battleground was fucking dope. And, I can't forget this. My man KO had, like, the American flag KO joint going on some no politics shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the presence of American flags in this whole night was crazy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd because it's...
Even the Battleground word, logo, had the American flag in it.
Did it?
In a fire-ass way. Yeah, bro. It was
Thought
fire.
it was just mad random colors.
It was red, white, and blue. And I think at one point it was red, white, and blue, though. They did do random colors, too. But at one point it was red, white, and blue, and it had the stars in it.
Yeah, it's weird because obviously Cena with the American flag. Then you got Jinder Mahal representing India, so it automatically makes Orton like America. And then you have the New Day coming out in their American attire.
Yeah.
So it was like an overwhelming presence of USA, which I don't understand why exactly, to be honest. But
because Vince McMahon felt like it.
I mean, no other way to explain it. There it is. That's it.
Boom. And we'll leave it on that note. That way.
Yeah.
American way.
Is there anything else that happened? Oh.
No, that was pretty much...
Breezango.
Oh, the Fashion Files, man. And they got knocked out and they got dragged out. Well, Dango got dragged out. I love that Breeze calls him Dango.
Dango. Yeah.
I just love it. Like, it's amazing.
I love it's so great. Dango.
You'd be like, Dango.
And what is Fandango called? Breezy?
He just calls him Breeze.
He doesn't call him Breezy?
He calls him Breezy sometimes too.
Right.
He's like Breeze.
Beautiful dynamic.
He's like Breeze. Like, he's trying to wake him up and then he just, boom, he gets knocked out.
But let's talk about how Ascension actually came in.
Yeah.
To start, and they were saying it was us. And that kind of threw me off because initially, remember I said it, I was like, I thought it was proven that it was the Ascension.
Already. Yeah.
And then I don't know, I was confused at first. So then the Ascension were like, it's us, and they were like, well that's anticlimactic. and they were just like, well, season finales are never really that good. They never really live up to the hype.
Tyler Breeze, man, great work.
And apparently the Ascension was lying. I guess they just wanted the glory of being the ones.
Yeah.
And then this riled Dango up, and he was like, "Look at Tully, the ripped up horse."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You think this is a time for jokes?" And he's like, "Get out of here!" And they just left. It
was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah, they like ran out.
Yeah, and then like you said, the lights go off.
Yep.
They get knocked out, and someone drags them out. I'm so confused.
I think I got a spoiler on that one. I don't know if I want to say it live or just tell you.
You have a spoiler? Well, who's the source? Because that's important. Because that determines, is it a true spoiler or not? Or was it Vince McMahon? You've been talking to Vince McMahon.
Yeah, well, me and Vince had a conversation. I was talking to Shane the other day when he was on his helicopter.
I was going to say when he landed in the middle of the river.
I was checking to make sure he was good, but while I had to check in, I had to actually ask some questions about this mystery with the Fashion Files because, I'm a close friend of Dango and Breeze. Those are my boys.
Okay,
so I take
what'd you get?
Kind of personal, too. Nah, but I'm hearing Sanity.
Fuck, that's what I was gonna say, but you
Yeah.
never even told me your actual source.
Yeah.
Well, Sanity
So,
makes sense because I love the lights out thing. You know, if
and
Shane McMahon in the helicopter, that wasn't a real thing. That was obviously set up for Sanity because you know when Sanity's theme starts, you hear the helicopters. So these are just little spoilers they're dropping. You do realize that, right?
yeah.
So wait, why'd you disagree? That's not real. I made that up. That's fake news. But I would love
I
for
was
it to be
kind of
Sanity.
confused at that point. I'm like,
I was
what?
just saying, because it's funny that the beginning of Sanity's theme is always those helicopters.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we just had news a week ago about Shane's whole thing.
Shane, of course.
It was too coincidental.
But I want to say, I loved how when Breeze got knocked out and the lights went out, it had that flickering like light that is actually part of Sanity's entrance.
Yes.
So that right there was a real hint too.
For sure. So would it be Eric Young, Killian Dane, and
Nikki Cross?
Well, no. What's the other guy's name? It's not. It's Alexander. Alexander Wolf.
Wolf.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it'll be them three? But not Nikki Cross, right?
Why not? Why not Nikki Cross? I
think,
I know she's been getting a singles run.
Exactly.
You know,
and now
she's
it's also
kind of vital to the women's division down there.
Exactly.
But like she's also vital to the image of Sanity.
Exactly. So, that's another thing. I don't want them to come up if they're not going to be
talking shit. Like I love it, you know?
I don't want them to come up if they're not going to have Nikki Cross with them. If they're not going to be fully Sanity, don't bring them up.
She probably bit Tully's head off.
Oh, shit.
Real talk.
No, absolutely. I love that. I love that. Whoa, that just blew my mind. I'm speechless.
I fucking eat Tully, motherfucker. And Tully tasted good too.
The only thing is that I was worried about is that like each Sanity member now they kind of have their own themes. It's like a little spin-off of the Sanity theme song. Where they all have their own little twist on their theme song. So that makes me feel like they're kind of okay with having Nikki be on NXT and them coming up. You know they're the type to do that. I mean, look what they did with Enzo and Cass and Carmella.
Exactly. You're 100% correct. There's never telling what, route they're going to take. But
exactly. But
I mean, either way, Sanity's going to be successful.
Oh, for sure. But I agree with you. Nikki Cross is super vital.
Yeah.
To their image, and I would love for Nikki Cross to come up with them.
Yep.
Otherwise, don't do it.
Yeah, man. So, damn, that was Battleground. We actually ended it with fucking the X-Files.
I mean, so the season finale.
The season finale.
So it's a good way to end the Battleground. No, but it's actually not. It's no longer the season finale because now it's to be continued again.
Word, dun, dun. Actually, you're right. Dun, dun, dun. That's great. That's fucking great. And just when we thought, like, remember, Fashion Police were gonna get they got a title shot, and we were like, damn, what are they gonna have for them? They might not have. And then this whole Fashion Files things continued, and they somehow made themselves an important part of SmackDown. So on Tuesday nights, so
exactly.
Shout out to those guys.
Which I love. Yeah, I was super afraid that they were gonna kind of just drop them after they had their little thing with the Usos, but I'm glad they kept it going. And if this is Sanity, this is big. This is huge.
Where?
So I dig it.
Yep, me too. But that was our Battleground review, our recap. It was a solid Battleground pay-per-view. It was on the WWE Network, which you could get for $9.99. If you enjoyed this episode and you enjoyed our past episodes, make sure you like, review, share, post it on Facebook,
subscribe,
Instagram. If you know any friends, tell them to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed but somehow you're still listening to this, hit subscribe.
Yeah, click that button. It's you're here already.
Yeah, man.
I just wanted to mention you plugging the WWE Network again. I was just gonna say, like, when I did it, it was a shameless plug. When you
When
did
I
it
did it, it
two
was part
times, it's like a shameful plug at that point. It's just shameful at that point. You can't plug it twice in
Nah, but you know,
40
we got the
hours.
WWE connects.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it on that note. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you ride it out.
All right. Well, what's today's date? Help me out with that one. I know
July
you said
27th.
it. I knew
Maybe
you said
the
it at the start. Did you just say April?
I said no. I said maybe the 26th. Joking around, like it might be yesterday.
Oh no. Okay. July 27th for sure. You're gonna, by the time you get this in your headphones, by the time you get this podcast for your head top, it's gonna be Friday, July 28th.
Yeah.
And we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoy your day, your night, wherever you are. We hope you having a good day. We hope you spreading love.
Yep.
We hope we provided value to you today. And if we did, like my partner said, hit that subscribe. Spread the word. Nothing but love from No Politics Wrestling crew. Thank you for anyone who comments on our Instagram, follows us on Instagram at No Politics Wrestling. Also, our YouTube. We put the podcast up on there too, and we're also gonna be putting new content, new videos. We're still working on exactly what we're gonna do, but that's coming soon. And you could bank on us when we say coming soon, because we did with the whole iTunes thing, and look, we here. So
exactly.
So thank you for listening. Thank you for engaging with us week after week. Spread the word, spread love. Love ya. Peace, love, all that.
Peace.